Hi, I made a super smelter. Just to be clear, I'm by no means a redstone expert. This is just something that I made. Here's my situation. I play in a Minecraft server with a couple of friends, and I tend to smelt a lot of items, right? And I don't know. I've always been the guy who really likes super smelters, and yeah, I decided to come up with this design. So the bridge design over here is like, very basic. You have a row of furnaces that are connected up with hoppers using a rail system to fuel it. It's so difficult to explain everything when you don't have a script, but okay. We have a top rail system, a side rail system, and a bottom rail system. The top one is to actually add the items you want to smelt. The side one is to fuel the furnaces, and the bottom one is to collect. And all these use hopper minecarts, as you can see. Now, one factor that was kind of important was actually the velocity of the minecarts. Too slow and they would fill up only one furnace, too fast and they would skip furnaces. I kind of figured that spacing them out by roughly 10 blocks, right, starting from the redstone block, right, and then using powered rails was kind of like the optimal acceleration slash, speed that they could travel at to fill in every single furnace. Optimally, you can extend this bridge up to 160 blocks. The reason why is because hopper minecarts have 5 slots, and these 5 slots can hold a maximum of 64 items. So if you multiply that, you get 320, and dividing it by 2, because these minecarts go back and forth, so they pass the furnaces twice, you can divide it by 2 and you get 160, which means, well, you can extend it up to 160 blocks in one direction. I could maybe decorate it a little bit better, but I mean, hey, it works and that's all that matters. But now on to this system that I'm very happy to say that I designed myself. Hey, slight correction. While I was designing the system that I'm about to show you, Glivs did help me brainstorm a couple design ideas. So technically I didn't do it completely solo, but in the end I did figure it out on my own. But still, shout outs to Glivs. Please give me more calcite. I didn't look up any YouTube tutorials whatsoever. I just kind of figured stuff out and it just works. And for that, I actually want to go to the super flat world. Okay, so this top chest over here is to put in the items you want to smelt. This lower chest is to put in the fuel. And then we have a bottom chest over here to collect all the items that have been smelted. I wanted an automatic system for the smelting process and the fueling process. I could have also done it for the collection process, but then I decided to actually do it manually. I have a system over here that detects if items are inside of that chest using these comparators over here. These comparators then send a signal down towards this copper bulb over here, which is going to turn on. And it's going to stay on for as long as there are items inside of that chest. The bottom system over here detects if items are inside of the minecart hopper. But as you can see over here, it has a switch using set copper bulb from before. Sending a minecart back and forth manually is boring as hell. I don't like to do manual labor, and doing this quote-unquote automatically is a bit of a problem, because if you just have a top system over here, well, then you have items at the top, but the minecarts will immediately get sent back and forth, right? And there is no logic to stop them for a moment to fuel them up completely. And that was kind of like the main concern that I had with the system. I wanted these minecarts to always be full every single time they would come back and, get more items. Because if they were half empty, per se, if only one slot was full, well, then it would only fuel in the first 64 furnaces, and, well, then it would just be empty. So if I had any more furnaces at the back, they wouldn't be utilized, and that would be a loss of efficiency. I thought, well, what if I implemented a system that would check if the minecarts were full, right? And that's the reason for the copper bulb over here. When it's turned off, it's really just checking if there are items inside of the minecart. But if this turns on, it's comparing the signal from, the hopper minecart and the signal from the bulb. The bulb signal will be 15, I think. The bulb signal would be 15, and the hopper minecart would also be 15, which will let, this sticky piston retract, which will send the minecart. So the logic was the following. If there are items inside of the chest, then check if the hopper minecart is full. And once it is, then send it on its way. I will also know that it's using that logic when that copper bulb is turned on. If there are no more items in the chest over here, don't check if the minecart is full, just check if there are items inside of the minecart. I can also check that if the copper bulb is off. Once it switches to that second logic system, it will just keep going until there are no longer any items inside of the minecart and the entire thing shuts off. If I demonstrate, right? When we send on its way, if I remove the item, it stays there. Now, people who are a bit more versed with Redstone than I am might realize that this system over here may not be optimal. The one with, you know, the comparator and Redstone lamp using observers. The only thing that I'm really doing is, you know, powering this block over here, right, to get the comparison for this system over here. I could technically use, instead of a copper bulb, I could technically use like a redstone block, maybe pushing it with a piston somewhere around here. But I don't know, I haven't really tested that. I might do that later on. I'm just scared that it's gonna power something that I don't want it powered, because as you can see, I have the exact same system that I just explained over here for the fuel minecarts, right? It's just arranged in a slightly different manner because of the space constraints. These systems are very close together. So instead of having comparators on the sides, like so, we actually have them at the back. And as you can see, the observers are at the bottom, but it's the exact same idea. So these would power this block over here. And if I recall correctly, I think somewhere around here, there should be like a redstone line, I think behind this block, which then powers the copper bulb, which is what actually switches the logic systems. And yeah, as I said, it's the exact same idea with the fueling systems. If there are items in the chest over here, then it's gonna wait until the hoppers are full. If there are no more items in the chest, then it's just checking if there are items in the minecart, and yeah, the whole system shuts down if there are no more items in the minecart. So that's for like smelting things. Now for the collection system, which I actually didn't build inside of the super flat world, I actually opted to make the collection system manually using this lever over here. The way how it works is, once again, we have a rail system at the very bottom with hopper minecarts. These collect the items from the furnaces. This system over here is to turn it on. As you can see, I think somewhere around here, that's where the lever is. I'm also checking if there are items inside of, well, in this case, not the hopper minecarts, but actually the hopper that's below it. So if there are items inside of the hopper, then it's going to stop the minecarts from actually traveling towards the furnaces. The system isn't in place, then they're just gonna immediately get sent back, right? And I didn't want that. I wanted to deposit the items, right? So that they would go to the chest, and once they're empty, that's when they're gonna be sent back. The minecarts rest on these hoppers, which are going to collect the items from the hopper carts, right? And these get sent to this dropper over here. Now it's going to detect if there are items in the dropper, and if there are, then it's going to turn on this redstone clock over here, which then powers the observers that then power the dropperator. So items get sent upwards towards this chest over here. Now the dropperator is also automatic, so once there are no more items inside of the dropper specifically, then the whole system shuts down automatically. And the thing is, I know that no more items are inside of the furnaces, because as soon as the minecarts are empty, right, they'll immediately get sent back. Once this entire thing is on and the minecarts return and immediately get sent back, then I know, okay, we've collected every single item, right? And I can turn this entire system off. I could technically make something automatic as well over here, but I don't know, I just kind of opted to do it manually because, well, I've already completely over-engineered this system over here, right? And I just thought, no, I'm not gonna be... I'm gonna be a sane person for once and just do it with a lever. So yeah, that's it. That's the super smelter. That's how I smelt my items. Yeah, I'm super happy how it turned out, and it's also very, very efficient. I'm smelting a bunch of items in a matter of minutes, which otherwise would have taken me like hours probably. So yeah, that's it. That's about it. I'm done. Bye.